Okay? That's what we're going to take a look at. So we're going to take a look at the fast God has chosen. Okay? Because God has a certain idea about what fasting is, and man has their own idea about what fasting is. Okay? And this isn't to disparage any of the churches or any of that. What we're doing, I'm for the church. We have a church. We're disparaging the wisdom that's killing the church. If people want to know really what I'm doing, I'm stomping on the wisdom that's killing the church. Okay, and right now we're busy with the Daniel fast as if what Daniel was doing was actually talking about fasting from food. That has nothing to do with what Daniel was doing. When Daniel fasted, he was fasting from making human ability his source of life. He didn't want the flesh that the king was going to give him, Nebuchadnezzar. And Nebuchadnezzar was busy trusting in the strength of the flesh. And he was busy trying to build people up through human ability. And Daniel looked at that and he said, I'm not going to partake of human ability. I'm not going to make human ability my food for life, because God is my food for life. And so rather, I don't want that flesh. And so when he says he doesn't want the flesh, he's talking about, I'm not going to trust in the arm of man for life. That's what he's talking about. I'm not going to trust in the strength of the flesh to give me life. I'm going to set my eyes on the God of all glory as my sufficiency and my life. And so what God was doing was making a mockery of man's attempt to have life through their own ability. That's what he was busy doing. Okay? And we see this because the guy that, the soldier, or whatever you want to call him, when Daniel said, I don't want flesh. I don't want that stuff from the king. The soldier was like, listen, man, I can respect that, because the soldier liked him. But you don't understand. You guys start coming out with all the other people, all the other eunuchs, and you look like you're skinny, and you look like you're dying. Listen, he's going to think that I'm not feeding you. And it's going to be my neck. And you know, Daniel says, give us 10 days and test it. Okay? And in 10 days, if you see me skinny and you see me looking like I'm dying, I'll eat the meat. What was Daniel doing? It has nothing to do with abstaining from food. He was abstaining from human ability. And he was saying, God's ability will strengthen me, not human ability. And after the 10 days, it says Daniel and the other 3 guys were fatter and fuller than all the other eunuchs. Now, how could that be? Because they were fasting from the meat. You see, it was a testimony of the strength and ability of God being greater than the strength and ability of man. It wasn't a testimony about abstaining from food. Oh, man. It was a testimony about Daniel abstaining from making human ability the food that can give him life. And it was a testimony about him making God the food that would give him life. And you could look at it in the same way that Jesus said. You know, when Jesus ministered to the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman, and they hadn't eaten for a while, and the disciples went and got some food, and they came back, we didn't get much, et cetera, et cetera. And Jesus said, I have meat that you know not of. He didn't say I hadn't eaten. He said, I have meat that you know not of. And so Daniel was telling the soldier, I don't need that flesh you want to give me, because I have meat that you know not of. Jesus said, my flesh is meat indeed. See, Daniel was looking forward. He saw something in the spirit of prophecy that told him human ability is the meat that perisheth, but the meat that Jesus would bring is the meat that remains unto everlasting life. And that's what the story of Daniel is talking about. It's got nothing to do with abstaining from food. Daniel had meat that they didn't know about. Jesus said, labor for that meat that doesn't perish, but remains unto eternal life. Human ability will perish, man. Human ability will cause you to die. The wages of trying to find life through human ability will kill you. So Daniel said, I don't want that meat that will perish. I don't want that human ability that can never give life. But I have meat that you know not of. Test the meat that I have that you know not of. I'll only have water and vegetables. And see what the meat that I have that you know not of, see what that meat will produce. For that meat remaineth, it perisheth not.